I'm going to move forward here. Thank you, Mr. Taylor and team, once again for providing these opportunities, if you will, to for us to gain some control and to fund necessary expense adjustments. So we appreciate your effort to get us this far.
Last meeting I used the word frightening when we were discussing the budget. This is what frightening looks like. To be very, very frank with you, what Spotsylvania is experiencing, and I think, again, the meeting Thursday is going to be the meeting that, again, we need this energy there, is the Spotsylvania is expanding. It's growing very quickly. You have the growth of Spotsylvania as a county. You have law enforcement, first responders trailing behind, and then you have our school system trailing way behind. Respectfully, Mr. Taylor, I don't agree with this meeting as a whole. I don't think we should have even had it. To go over the possible choices to close the gap, I think it was too premature to even discuss closing the gap. I think our discussion now should have been how we're going to fight for the money that we passed 7-0. I think discussing closing the gap is just too premature, and we should have just waited until Thursday and saved our energy to fight for the current budget that we proposed 7-0, and then came back to the table if we were short.
What were you thinking? This is what grossly irresponsible looks like. To present, Mr. Twigg, I have the floor. To present items as cuts, as potential cuts, as ideas, like eliminating Governor's School, eliminating libraries. This is, and others, it's hostile, it's threatening to staff, it's a turnoff to anyone who might consider employment in our division. That any consideration of cuts to libraries, areas and programs that support academic excellence, would ever be considered would be a turnoff to the community, people who might consider living here, sending their kids to our schools. It shows how little you as a superintendent value the services that meet the needs of students. And I will say the same, not just you, Ms. Phelps and Ms. Gillespie, that you would approve and be okay with this being listed for presentation to the board as options. I'm talking. I'm not asking you a question. I'm talking.
And your time is going, so please continue on with Mr. Taylor.
Don't interrupt me. Point of order. I can say what I want to say. You did not address the time limit for this. Point of order. There was no time limit mentioned when we started this discussion. Absolutely.
Did you say recess? Okay. We can continue on, Ms. Cole.
This is irresponsible. That's why you have a room full of people. If you pretend to try to get people to be employees, I mean, we have over 200 vacancies and counting. How dare you? I mean, I don't understand how you
I'm sorry, I can't hear Ms. Cole. I'm sorry, I can't, Ms. Cole, I can't hear you because it's like an echo chamber up here. I can't hear Ms. Cole, so if the room could please stop, I'd like to hear what she's got to say.
As a professional, I don't understand why, as a superintendent of schools, that you wouldn't sit and think, how is this going to come across to our community, to our staff, to potential people when we need to bring people in?
That I don't understand, first of all, why we're even discussing this, because we still don't, as Mr. Taylor said, we don't know how much money we're getting. So I don't know why we're even talking about this yet. And why I don't understand as well is why we aren't starting with what was added to the approved budget versus cutting programs that have been supporting our students that has made us a top division in Virginia. So I don't understand. This is what I think we need to start looking at first. Things that have been added to the budget this year. Cut the chief of staff position. That's about $175,000. Get rid of the private security, not for this meeting, but for in the central office when they're here from 8 to 4 for $90,000 a year.
When we came up with this list, what goals did we have in mind? Or did we haphazardly choose, okay, not we, but what goals did the district that you all have in mind when we came up with this list? Because we want to start with the goal in mind. If the goal is to ensure that we are being proactive in ensuring that our students are learning, which one of these programs will ensure that? Well, that means that that's the program you don't cut. So we want, and libraries is one of them, because in order for our students to learn and engage in the world, they need to know what books are out there that they can also pick up and read further information about, especially when they're in the classroom and they're talking about a subject. We want to make sure that they can go on their own to continue to learn about that particular subject. So libraries are important, and not only that, libraries are legal. According to the statute, we cannot eliminate libraries in our schools. So just kind of keep that in mind. So that shouldn't even been on the list. That should have been away off this list. That's number one.
I am a big believer in the proposed budget, and I don't like any of the reduction concepts, but I am concerned that with the feedback I have heard so far in the process, that we may have serious problems ahead. We are early in the process. I truly hope that the community has a positive conversation about funding our division with the Board of Supervisors at the public hearing. And outside of the public hearing process, they are available to us as leaders of our community. We will do our best to promptly answer all of the questions. The staff has been taking notes, and I understand that tonight's presentations are already posted on the website and that are on board docs.
Like,